have you guys on the show. We're trying to get some of the men and women teams that fish tournaments around, but it doesn't have to be tournament fishermen. If we can get some husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend people that fish a lot together, they don't have to be tournament fishermen. It makes a family orientation out of what we're trying to do here, and it's been working, and I'm enjoying it. I think JR is, and you two rate way up there on my list because we do so much BSing when we go to these tournaments and motel parking lots and going out to eat. There's a group of us that always seems to end up together, and man, we haven't seen you since Memphis, so it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you.
How's things in Illinois?
Well, if the temperature would cooperate, it'd be nice, but this up and down temperature is killing us.
Man, it is. You was telling us. What did you say a while ago that the water temperature was up there?
I was out on the Mississippi up where we're at the other day, and it was 57, 58 degrees. And then when you got into the shallows, it was just starting to get into the 60s.
So you're not having to deal with any spawning fish yet?
No. And then the river that's right next to us, the Rock River, it's blown out. We've gotten so much rain in the last 4 days. It's all flooded.
Wow. Well, we haven't had any rain in the last 2 days, but it rained every day before that for a week. So, we was trying to get our boat ready because it's sold and it's on its way to Michigan, and you just couldn't get it ready. You couldn't do anything. It rained either all day or you was drying it up, trying to get, stuff done. And finally we just took it to Jeff City, and they detailing it and getting it all set. And the guy was supposed to pick it up today up there. And I hope he enjoys it. That was the best boat that I have ever owned. Or been a part of. Really enjoyed that boat. So we'll get our old one fixed up till we get the new one ready to go, and we'll see what happens.
There you go.
Heck yeah. JR, you got some questions for Diane and Terry?
I do.
Right.
Diane, Terry, if I imagine y'all being in Illinois, you're probably doing a lot of river fishing.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, just imagine if we all did something different every time we went fishing. Imagine the fishermen would be in just a few years if we all did something different every single time we went. If you're like me, you do the same things a lot. I mean,
yeah.
I got a handful of things that I do, and it's kind of like that movie Remember the Titans when they wanted the coach to do something different. He had 7 plays. He said, "You know what?" He said, "It's like Novocaine. Give it time, and it'll work." And that's kind of the philosophy that I live by. I do the same handful of things over and over again. But I've talked to guys that they do things, they're going to do whatever the fish tell them to do. And a lot of guys, they go buy electronics, they try to mark fish. And me personally, all I do is I go by structure. Anytime I'm marking fish, it's maybe I try to mark bait, but as far as marking fish, I don't even bother with it. I fish structure. I go where I think the fish should be.
Mm-hmm.
And the question I have for y'all, let me back up. The 62 pounder that you caught, Diane.
69.
60, was it 69? I think it was.
You're out of 7 pounds, JR.
I think it was in the MRM.
68 pounds.
I think you won big fish with it.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What bait you were using? How you were fishing? Were you anchored? Were you trolling? What was that day like?
Well, it wasn't a good day. We had a really bad week, honestly. At one point, we were ready to pack it up and just leave after being there for a couple of days. Our batteries died, so we had to go buy new batteries. We'd been there for 3 days and had a really bad. We lost our depth finder. But we have such fabulous people that we fish with that I had numerous people coming up to us, handing us fish finders to use and depth finders, and until we can get something to replace it. And, but for the rest of the week, it was, hit or miss. It wasn't a good thing. And come tournament morning, we just decided we're just going to do it. Whatever happens, happens. We ended up catching Terry caught one fish, the first fish,
14-pounder.
and it was about 14 pounds. And for the next couple hours, it was nothing. And finally, about noon, he said, all right, there's a hole. Let's throw and let's just see what happens. So we did. I cast it out, watching the barges go by, and my pole went down. And boy, I jumped, and I couldn't get it out of the rod holder. And he just
you said the barges went by.
My way. It was crazy. It was just.
You think that was a barge bite? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I'm thinking so, because at first I thought it was snagged, but the way that pole went down, and
she almost went in.
I almost went in because I was fighting it. And
so I'm curious, how long after the barge went by was the bite?
I don't know, about
it was about 5 minutes ish.
Yeah.
Okay,
about 5 minutes. It seemed like it happened really, really fast, but in all, I was fighting it for almost 25 minutes.
Wow.
To get it up. And when it did come up, we were both such in awe of this beautiful fish.
They're majestic.
When he dove again, he almost pulled me over. If it wasn't for Terry, I probably would have ended up right in there with them.
When they get over 50, they're majestic. They don't even look real.
I know. And we just kind of were like, oh my God. It was great. It was an awesome experience. I don't know, Lyle, how bad was I shaken?
Well, when you guys come through the line, I could tell that something good was happening.
Were you using big baits? Were you using hand-sized baits, or did you catch it on small baits?
We started off using big baits, and it was just like we had a few bites. That was it. So then I decided I'm going to try smaller baits, and then that's when
I love that. I love hearing big fish being caught on small baits because everybody thinks it's got to be a giant bait.
Yeah,
we were using skipjack, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the body. I had some of the body on mine. So
midsection.
It was fabulous. I don't know, a moment I will never ever forget.
So what kind of tackle are we using? What size leaders?
Using 36-inch leaders. I think I had 80-pound test, 10-aught, triple threat hook. Everything we use is Whisker Seeker. We just love their products. We're not sponsored by them or nothing, but
My
everything.
friend Keith, he's got a YouTube channel, fishing and stuff, and he loves their rods. Oh my God, he's got a crush on them bad.
Everything we use is all Whisker Seeker rods from their tackle.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, they quit making their graphite seat rods. Now they're aluminum reel seats.
Yeah.
Because my buddy, he bought every one they had at conference the year before last because he knew they were discontinuing them. So he liked those graphite Whisker Seekers. So he bought every one he could get.
Yep. Reels. Usually I run 6,500 C3s, or I started using the Akuma cold waters now, low profiles.
Yeah.
We use them a lot for bumping. They're a lot more comfortable.
So what's your main line, mono or braid?
Braid.
80 pound?
65 to 80, 85 pound Power Pro is what I use for braid.
And y'all mostly anchor fish, or does it just depend?
Up here or down anywhere?
At home, I guess, or just anywhere.
Yeah, we do a lot of anchor fishing. I mean, I love fishing brush piles.
Bait and weight. That's the way I like to fish.
Yep, I love fishing brush piles. Up here, it's more channel cats than anything.
Do y'all typically have a lot of current?
Depends.
Yeah, it depends. Right now there is, because all the rivers are up. As the rivers start dropping, we'll get less and less. On the Mississippi up here, everybody down south calls it the Big Lake, because down in Memphis is nothing compared to up here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the
Memphis is much faster.
Memphis is a heck of a lot faster.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely like anchoring in current.
Yeah.
Because you're anchoring current, the fish are going to come to you.
Yeah.
A lot of times if I go out to fishing and the water's dead calm, I'll troll. But if there's, even if there's just wind, there's not a lot of current, but there's a lot of wind, then I'll still anchor because wind creates current.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I like to bump too, though.
Now that is definitely something I am not confident in, but I know a lot of guys are doing it and they're using
we do all right. We're not the best at it, but we do all right. I mean,
well, it's new.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody. I mean, there are people that are good at it, of course, but it's still new. People are still learning it.
What was that question? When you win money in a tournament, do you put it back into your boat and gear?
No, my wife spends it all.
Okay, somebody just asked. Now wait a second. I have to say this. I won a decent amount of money for that big fish last year. And the first thing I bought with it was a new grill for the boat. So
everybody needs a boat grill.
Yeah. That's right. Well, we just got a better one. So that way we don't have to come in and just bring our good food out with us. And hi, Tim. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Brandy. We try to. If I win, I'll give him back like the entry fee, but he'll let me keep some of it and let me, buy some stuff with it. Hi, Teresa.
Now, when y'all get out there, when y'all pick a place to fish, to anchor up and fish, do y'all dedicate an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or are y'all the type that anchor up and if you hadn't gotten a bite in half an hour, do you pull anchor and leave, or do you give it a fixed amount of time, or is it just you just play it by ear?
I'll let him answer that one.
For up here where we fish, it's 10 or 15 minutes and I'm moving.
Really? So you guys are basically running and gunning.
It's just channel cats that are, 5 to 10 pounds. I mean, we have a lot of channel cats up here. Now for flathead, if I'm going to target flathead, it's half hour to 45 minutes, and then that's it.
Okay.
I'm going to go try to find another spot for flatheads.
Yeah. Hi, Kimberly. Sorry.
With that being said, since you're running and gunning like that, you said 15, 20 minutes if you hadn't gotten a bite. Now I'm assuming you're not anchoring up and throwing out 20 rods, because you'd be going through a load of bait if you were to do that. So are you basically just throwing out a handful of rods just as search baits?
Yeah, I try to fan them out. We use 6 rods, 3 apiece when we're fishing, and I try to fan them out. That way you can cover a whole lot more. Now, if I'm going to target one specific area like a brush pile, 2 or 3 will go into the brush pile, and then the other 2 or 3 are going to go on the outside of the brush pile.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a limit on rods over here that you guys don't have out east.
Poor Lyle. He can only use 3 rods.
Yeah, and it's 3 per person. And actually in Missouri, it's 2 per person on the Mississippi, but 3 everywhere else. But now if you have your name and address and phone number on them, or your conservation number, you can do more, but almost all of the tournaments are 3 anyhow. So
yeah.
I just thought I'd bring it in.
That's the same way up here. I can go out by myself and throw 8 rods out as long as they're all marked. But for tournaments, it's usually 6 rods at one time. Don't matter if you have 2 or 3 people in the boat, it's 6 rods.
Okay. Well, you want me to keep asking questions, Lyle?
Keep rolling, man. You're doing great.
You want me to burn through all my questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Spot luck or throw the.
Do you guys ever try to mark fish?
Yes, I'm starting to get into that, and I've been doing actually pretty good the few times that I've been out this year. I will scan a bank for a half hour and then go back up, and then I will sit on what I've marked, and I've been doing pretty good catching 3, 4, or 5 of them at a time. So I'm getting better at it.
I'm trying to learn what a catfish looks like on sonar. I had a guy tell me one time, a friend of mine told me that Mac Byram told him this. He said, how do you know that that's what, like, if you're marking fish and you're catfishing, how do you know if that's catfish? And he said, whatever you're targeting, that's what fish that is. So if you're targeting catfish, it's catfish.
Yeah.
I want to answer a question. Somebody asked, be honest, do y'all always get along on the boat? We've had our moments.
No.
We don't always get along, to be totally honest. We've, and one of us will end up in the front of the boat stomping and, and then we get over it, and then a pole will go down and I'll body check them and grab the pole. We're going to fight. Yeah. But we always get back to the fishing. And then we'll,
All right. I got a really serious question for y'all. Okay. I was watching a video of you catching a fish, Diane, and you're like in the middle of this fight catching this fish. And it turns out it was only like an eater size blue, I think, or it may have been a channel, but in any event, you're fighting this fish and all of a sudden you spit this sandwich out. And
I did get it. See?
And Terry's like, you just spit that sandwich out, and I'm recording this. I got this on video. So my question to you is, Diane, what kind of sandwich was that?
It was what was that? It was that hot chicken.
Sandwich.
It was some kind of lunch meat from the deli, but it was hot. It was spicy.
Yeah.
And when my pole went down, I had just shoved it in my mouth to grab the pole, and I realized how hot it was, and I wasn't going to do it. So I just turned my head and hocked it out. And oh my God.
Yeah. So you weren't going to let that one rest in your cheek or anything.
Oh my God. No, there was no resting for that one. That's funny.
But we do get into arguments, but for the most part, we're out there fishing to have fun. There are some things that, will make me mad or make her mad, but at the end of the day, we're going home happy.
It wouldn't matter if it was Diane in that boat or me.
Come on.
At some point, people are going to disagree on things in a boat. You're in a confined area doing something that everybody thinks they know all about, whether they do or not, and you're not going to do things the same way. JR and I don't. You and I won't. Diane and I won't.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, when you go through that weigh-in line and Diane's shaking like a dog crapping peach seeds, and she's got this huge ass fish, and she's got a smile this wide, it's all worth it.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Our favorite food on the boat. Well, we cook hot dogs, we cook brats, we've cooked chicken, we've cooked shrimp skewers, we've cooked.
Oh.
Yeah,
you're making me hungry.
Out there with them, yeah.
I need to fire the grill up.
Yeah, I remember the first year MRM, we were cooking hot dogs. And all of a sudden, my pole went down, and I'm standing there with a hot dog, and I didn't want to put it down. So I'm trying to give it to him, and he's like, "Drop it." We have the best memories of that. Hey, baby.
Not to interrupt you, JR, but Diane, the best memories that I've had in long times are fishing tournaments and hanging out with people and doing stuff. I remember those times.
Yep.
Right now, I remember those times more than I do catching fish. Whether it be
parties in the Mexican restaurant.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. Queso dip.
Yep.
Queso.
Brian Wagoner said, what kind of boat do y'all fish out of?
I've got a 2015 G3 Sportsman 200. It's got a Yamaha 150 on it.
Oh, man, beast. It's a beast of a boat.
I'm not allowed to bring bananas on the boat.
Yeah,
of course not.
Well, somebody just asked, what will you not carry on the boat?
You better not bring no bananas on my boat.
Yeah, that's another first MRM memory. we were all having breakfast and these bananas were sitting there and I was like, oh, this will be good for the boat. And everybody sitting in that little eating area about turned around and started yelling at me. And I just,
some guys are like, I was watching
I dropped
Patriot James last week, and they were talking about this, and he's like, it doesn't bother me. It's just superstitious, Well, of course it's superstitious. Everything about fishing is superstitious. We're targeting a creature that we can't even see.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all mental and superstitious. So yeah, we don't want to, no black cats, no bananas, none of that.
That's 100% correct, man. 100%.
That's right,
correct.
Tim said he doesn't argue on the boat with Teresa. As long as he does what she says, they get along.
That's exactly right. Trying to keep up with some of these.
I know that's
these questions. They get to going pretty quick through here, and I miss some once in a while. But I see Brandy Brooks is in here tonight. Good to see her in here.
They just had their first anniversary.
Was it
Brandy
the
and
first?
Jody.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you believe it's been a year already?
Not really. That's another pair that we miss a lot. Tim and Teresa, we miss a great deal. Terry and Lisa, all those, it's just a group. And I last year, one of the best times we had, we'd walk over and see you guys was on one side of the motel and we was on the other side of the motel. And I sat in the back of a pickup truck. I'm not sure whose it was. I think it was Joey's. But Joey and Stacy Gaston and I sat in the back of that thing and shot the bull for hours on end. And there must have been 100 people walked up and stood for different times and visited with us. And, I'd get tired of sitting there and I'd get up. And, of course, that was before I quit smoking. And I'd get away from those guys because I knew that they didn't do it. And I'd have me a cigarette. And I'd go back and they'd move. I'd get up in there and then they'd set up in there and we'd go again. And it was a great time. And, I miss them tournaments. And this COVID-19's got to get gone so we can start doing what we do.
Definitely.
Who is that? Kate.
Catherine McTee.
Yeah, bathroom, Catherine. I got to carry a bucket for her all the time.
Hey, I'm not afraid to hang over the edge.
Yeah. You guys need to do more videos. I enjoyed watching the handful of videos that you got on Facebook.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was fun.
We try. I do want to have to add, for anybody out there that wants their wife, girlfriend, fiance, significant other to fish with them, take them out and do it. She wasn't very interested in it about 4 years ago.
You're kidding me.
Oh, she was not interested at all. It was all for me, this and that, until I started taking her out. And the best thing you can do is let them catch the fish.
That's right. 100%.
I don't care if you got 6 rods, 8 rods out. All them rods are hers. Let her catch the fish.
Absolutely.
That's the only way. And I know a few out there that don't let their significant others do that. They want to jump up on that rod. I've caught a lot of fish. I don't have to do that.
Hey, I like watching them catch the fish. I wish my wife would go with me. I would very much enjoy watching her fight a fish.
Now she'll get up, she'll cut bait, she'll take them off the hook. She's learning how to dip them out of the water. The next step is teaching her how to drive the boat and run the trolling motor.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the trolling motor and the depth finder. I really want to learn how to do it.
It'll come.
It will.
As long as you keep going out there, it'll all be second nature for you eventually.
A couple weeks ago, I backed the trailer so he can get the boat out of the water, and I was just giggling like crazy.
Okay. You're already ahead of 90% of other women. So
I got to tell you, I think that everybody that goes in that boat, if they're old enough to see over the steering wheel, should be taught to drive a boat, because you never know when something's going to happen and they have to get you in.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm a believer in that. I've preached that for years, and people look at me and say, well, that kid's not old enough to drive, or that woman ain't got no business driving. It don't matter. If you can
Mhm.
steer with a steering wheel, you should know how to run that boat.
Mhm.
And I've also found out the more that she gets into fishing, the more I get to buy for fishing.
All right, Terry, don't get yourself in trouble now.
Nah.
But seriously, let whoever you take out, even if it's kids, let them do all the catching and fishing. You know, that's how you're going to get anybody interested in it.
Absolutely. That's good advice.
That is great advice, Terry. Great advice.
When I first started fishing with him, my idea of going fishing was we go out, I lay on the front of the boat and get sun, and he fishes.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's, hey, I want to stand on that side of the boat. You go on this side. Let's switch it up. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And,
Now it's partners.
It is.
It is.
I'm glad he had the patience to stick with it. And don't get me wrong, we've had our fights and our arguments about it. And, on the boat.
I think the secret to that, to having disagreements, I think you have to be like a kicker in the NFL. You have to have a short memory. A kicker, when he misses a kick, he can't sulk on it. He's got to get over it right then and there.
It's over. Exactly.
I think when you're out there and you have disagreements, you got to have a short memory. There's no room to hold any kind of resentment or grudges or anything on that boat. You get what you want out, and then you move on, and everything is fine.
Yep. There was a question asked of how many times we get out to go fishing. As much as we can. With my job, I have a weekly job. I'm off weekends. With her job, she works every other weekends. So we try to get out on her off weekends as much as possible. Now that's hopefully it's going to start getting nicer out, we can go after work a few different times.
You can answer that one too. He wants to know if we catch our own bait or do we purchase it. We do both.
We do both.
Clyde,
For bait up here, I do a lot of catching my own bait. If we got to travel, it's just as easy to buy it. That way you're not taking time out of your day to go try to find bait.
Well, let me ask you a question on that line of thinking. And I will tell you that what I believe that I want to make sure I got bait. If we're spending a bunch of money going to a tournament and traveling 8 or 9 hours one way, I want to know that I got bait when I get there. Now, if I find it on my own, that's awesome.
Yes.
But I want to back up, because I've been to a lot of times where we'd spend a day driving to every dam within driving distance and come up with 3 pieces of bait to pre-fish with and none for tournament day. And if you buy bait, you usually have bait for tournament day. And I'm not too good to use frozen. I, of course, like everybody else, the fresher it is, the better. But when bait's tough to get, if somebody will guarantee me that they'll have me some fresh froze bait, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because if it's that tough of fishing, I need to spend my time on the water looking for where I'm going to fish.
Someone just asked, what's our go-to bait? And
we've got several.
Yeah.
My guess would be skipjack.
Right now we're using, for our channel cats, we're using shrimp and creek chubs, shad. As the year goes on, we're going to start getting into more shad, moon eye, leopard frogs. I don't know, a lot of people know about leopard frogs, but they're killer.
No idea.
They're great channel cat.
They're a great channel cat. I mean, end of July, August time frame, they are just killer.
Is it a literal frog?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a little tree frog.
I didn't know if it was like
about that yet, so
I don't know if it was like the red horse sucker, where it's like, a fish, but it's named after a horse.
No, these are actual leopard frogs.
I don't know if I could hook a frog.
Yes, you can.
No.
Step on it, squish it, get it out, put a hook in it, throw it out there.
Yeah. Somebody
simple.
asked, do we ever use stink bait? There is a tournament that we fish up here by us. That's a memorial tournament, and it is all stink bait. And Lyle, don't laugh. I won big fish for that tournament last year too. And it was only like 7.4 pounds, but still, I mean,
if you're in a tournament and that's the only bait you can use, and you're catching big fish, that's
yeah.
Diane, that was a channel cat at 7.4. Yeah, that's a good fish that's a good channel for around here. I think our channels are. You catch a 5-pound channel on the Catawba chain, and you're doing good.
Oh, there's some bigger ones than that up there on that Mississippi above Keokuk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We've got
great channel cat.
I haven't gotten into them yet, but I know there's been 15s and 18-pound channel cats caught on Mississippi. Yep.
I have some of the biggest channel cat in our general area that I'm aware of is coming that pool above Keokuk.
Yes.
There's 2 pools above Keokuk. I guess it gets better as you go up, but I like fishing up there. And of course, people think there's something wrong with me, but I love fishing channel cat tournaments. The weigh-ins are close. There's a lot of action, and everybody seems to catch a lot of fish. And to me, what more could you ask for? And it doesn't matter if the prize money is the same, whether you're catching channel cats, blues, flatheads, green gophers. It don't make no difference.
No.
If the money's the same, go out and catch the biggest ones in that pool of water and call it a day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my feelings.
Okay, now the money's nice, but I've gotten to where I want to beat my last one and
There you go.
do bigger. You know, I like to come in and go, yeah, we caught 16 fish, or we caught whatever. And, I learned how to do this and I learned how to do that, and to go back and share the stories with all of our friends and everything. It's great.
Yeah, I agree.
And I honestly can't say thank you enough to Terry for, again, for putting up with sometimes the stupidity of the things that I was doing, or the little bit of whining, or,
Was it a little bit, Terry?
He's gonna pass. I don't blame
Hard
him.
pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
Do you like eating fish, and how often do you keep eaters?
Not very.
Well, they do have a grill on their boat.
Yeah.
we do keep some fish. I do throw a lot back. I mean, I get yelled at up here all the time. Why are you throwing them back? It's not about, I keep enough for me and her.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
what I keep.
The actual fish that I keep is going to be out of colder water. We call it ice out up here. That's the best eating fish that you can keep.
Yeah. I love to eat them. I really do.
Yeah.
I hate to clean them.
5 pounds and over is what I usually throw back. Anything else, if I'm going to keep them, I will.
Yep, that's the way with me. I just don't like to dress them. I did for years and cleaned them when we was kids.
There's no crying and catfishing.
But I just don't want to do it. And once in a while, I'll keep a best for us. I went 15 years without keeping a fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to clean them. And my son, he would go fishing with us, and we put them in the live well. And then before we'd load the boat, I'd throw them all out so I didn't have to help him clean them. And he gets so mad at me, but I just didn't want to do it. And now I think last year we cleaned one mess. Because to tell you the truth, I would rather take Cindy to a restaurant on the way home and buy catfish at the restaurant as to clean the damn things. But I love them. I mean, I would rather eat that than just about anything.
For Mother's Day, we had fresh fish for Mother's Day. I went out Saturday.
I seen that.
Yeah.
It looked awesome.
It was great.
I caught 5 fish. That's all I wanted to catch. And I brought them home, cleaned them, and that was for her for Mother's Day. I mean, that's just, but I don't eat fish all the time.
Yeah. A lot of people don't, but I dearly love it. I mean, I could eat it a couple times a week if I didn't have to clean the damn thing.
Yeah.
Diane and Terry, do y'all do any night fishing?
We did twice last
We
year.
did twice
Yep.
last year.
And had a blast with it. I mean, I was putting her on fish left and right that night. And we were catching 8-9 pound channel cats that night.
There's a lot of people that think they bite better at night.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn. I really don't know. I know there's less traffic, and that's really the biggest reason I fish at night is because of the less boat traffic.
I'll tell you one of the reasons that Cindy and I used to fish at night was because it's so much cooler and that sun ain't bearing down on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do like that about night fishing, but I'm selective about where I'll night fish. We got stung in a tournament one year, several years ago, where our transducer and everything got turned up, where we was looking for a spot to go to the fish that we had marked, and we got up against a wing dike, couldn't get away from it. The current was really strong. We finally got away from that, but we had no fish finder the rest of the night, and we're pretty selective about where we go now on night tournaments and night fishing and stuff. It has to be someplace that we're pretty familiar with.
Yeah.
Right. Areas I won't hardly do. Now, if I was to get in a boat with you in a place that either one of you guys knew where it's going, or Sonny Parker or somebody like that, I would be comfortable with that if they knew where we was at. But just to go out to a spot on the Missouri, or the Mississippi, or the Tennessee River, or someplace that I'd never been before, I'd probably pass on it anymore.
When we're driving on the river, I try to find things, markers, and the next time we go, I'll be like, oh, okay, this is where we went when we did this, or or like you said, if something ever happened and I have to get us back, I like to know where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard down in Tennessee, boy.
That's a good way to put it, because like I say, you don't know, things happen, whether you believe that they're going to or not. Nobody wants stuff to happen, but it does happen. And I'm glad that you're understanding what you have to do to get in if something does arise and come up. That's great.
We are not quiet on the boat. We have music. That's a must. And I think that goes way, way back when I first started fishing with my grandpa. He always had an AM, FM, or actually it was an AM radio on the boat, and that's what we listened to on the boat. So it goes way back then. I've always had some kind of music on the boat, or if I'm listening to a talk show or something.
Well, since you said that, do you typically fish shallow water or deep water?
Depends on where the fish are at.
Yeah,
so you're going to go where the fish are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, because of our water temperature, they're shallow still.
So you're going to listen to the music even in shallow water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I promise you, JR, if the St. Louis Cardinals are on, I'm going to be, it doesn't matter how deep the water is, they're on that radio.
Okay.
They're on.
I know some guys
I hear it too.
Some guys, they like to be quiet when they're fishing shallow water. I mean,
I know a lot
they take
of
it to the
guys
extreme.
Like yeah.
And then again, you go to I fish Lake Murray in the summer, and they'll be out there with the green lights, striper fishing, blasting rock and roll.
Yep.
Just absolutely blasting it. The guides will purposely blast the rock and roll. They're drumming. They're hitting the decks of their boat. What they call drumming for
Are they
stripers.
trying to wake them up or what?
They say that they're attracted to the noise. Well, I mean, if you look over in other countries, they use that thing called the conker or whatever for catfish. I've heard of guys taking empty water bottles and putting them under the surface of the water and crinkling them under the water for catfish. So there's a lot of different schools of thought as far as noise goes.
I don't believe any kind of noise scares them away. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just me.
How could a radio scare them if you're the barges? I mean,
that's what I was getting ready to say, Diane. You caught that huge fish.
Yeah.
on that barge
Listen, it
bite
was
right
not
after he
quiet.
went by. Nothing's louder than could you imagine the propeller on that tugboat
I
that's
know.
pushing that barge, how deep and loud that thing is?
Yeah.
I have to tell you though, when I was reeling that fish in, I didn't hear nothing, and we looked up and we were right next to the barge. I mean, we didn't even realize. And all
That's
I
what
know
I've
is
heard.
he jumped over and he said, "Keep going, keep going." He got us out of there, and
I've heard that you won't hear those things till they're right on you.
yeah, it's true, definitely.
Well,
Got to be careful.
the
Yeah.
new barges in the last, what, Terry, 10 or 15 years have become so quiet. The old barges, you could hear them coming before they come around the corner
Yeah.
of the next curve on the river. You
Yep.
could hear them coming up or down river, either one. But these new motors are so efficient, so quiet that you really have to pay attention because they will sneak up on you and they're right on top of you before they know it. But now, if you are in their channel or the area that they're going to be going, they will let you know.
Yes.
Did
You
you
definitely don't want to be anchored up in the
No.
main channel in the middle of the night. with
I
barge traffic.
wouldn't personally, but I know a lot of guys that do. But yeah, they'll blow that horn. If you have the marine radio, they'll be on it telling you to get out of their way if you're in their way. And it amazes me. They'll make them curves, and the back of that barge will get so close to you. The tug will get so close to you, but they know, seemingly, they know if you need to move or not. And if you don't need to move, they won't.
They won't. Yeah, we had that last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Man, it looks like they're getting close, don't it?
Yeah.
Terry?
Yeah.
Yep.
We've had a couple of them pull up, the tugboats pull up, kind of alongside of us and talk to us over the loudspeaker.
Yep.
Watch us reeling a fish, and
Right.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
fun. We have so much fun.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of things, and the Mississippi's good about that. Now I know there are some tugboat drivers out there that are a little hard to deal with.
Mhm.
But the majority of them that we see, they'll wave at you and holler at you when they go by, and wonder if you're catching fish, and all kinds of stuff. But every once in a while, you'll get that one guy.
Yep, just that one.
Yep.
And he's mad because he's working and you're fishing. That's the only thing I can contribute it to. But yeah, he'll have an attitude. But for the most part, they're all pretty good, and it is what it is.
Oh, I never even noticed the question right there.
I see. Mike Lewis has made a comment about Find Ship. That's an app that I have on my phone that you can go to, and if anybody doesn't know about that, just get the app on your phone. So it's Find Ship, and if you're on rivers and stuff that has barge traffic, you can punch that in. They'll even tell you the name of the barge, how close it is. It is amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
it'll tell you if they're parked, if they're moving, if they're going up or down river. It just gives you a picture of the river where you're at.
Now, James Dockery said you'll shine a spotlight on tugboat only once, but I'm assuming
pretty sure
that they don't like for you to shine
I
lights
guess
on them.
not.
Yeah, that they'll light you up for that. And if you're sitting there and they see you and you don't have your lights on, that light's liable to be on you for a long
Yeah.
And they're bright.
And they are bright because they want you to know that you're supposed to have that light on that boat.
Someone else asked a question.
Palmetto cats.
Yeah, palmetto cats. Do we find it difficult to take chances on new spots on our home waters? We tend to go to our go-to spots, but we'll be riding up the river and he'll go, "Hey, what about that?" Or I'll see something and go, "That looks like a good brush pile," or something, and we'll jump around.
Yeah, you can pre-fish for a tournament all you want, but come tournament day,
them fish ain't gonna be there.
Depending on what the weather did, what the river did that day or that overnight, it could have dropped, it could have raised. That could throw your game plan right out the back window. I've had it happen several times where you fished. They'll be on the ledges all week. Come tournament day, they're not on the ledges. They're in brush piles.
One of the funniest things that I can remember was Chuck Davidson when he used to do the show with us. Chuck used to fish a lot of tournaments. We'd meet him in Memphis and different areas. meet up with him, and we'd have a big time, do shows and stuff. And Chuck would always say, every tournament there's a damn cold front that runs through. And he was almost right there for about 2 years. Every big tournament that we'd go to, there'd be a cold front and move to, and the fish would move. But usually they don't go real far. They'll go out in deeper water, but they do move.
Yeah.
And blues are notorious for moving anyhow.
Yeah.
And
No. Mike, we're in Northwest Illinois, and we fish the Mississippi River. And we also fish the Rock River. Rock's not as big, obviously, but
it's called the Rock River for a reason,
Yeah.
because it can get itchy in spots.
Really?
It can get real sketchy in spots.
I'm going to tell you a story. I was planned to fish a Cabela's tournament up there several years ago, and I'd never been up there. And John Jameson was going up there to pre-fish, and I talked to him on the phone the day before, and he called me the next day, and he said, don't come up here. I said, why? He said, I won't even unload my boat. There's not enough water in this thing. You can't go far enough. They shouldn't ever hold a tournament on this river, and I never went since then.
Yep.
Because there's just, for big boats, you're going to get in trouble probably.
Yeah. I watch one river gauge up here, and when it drops to 4 feet, I can still run. I don't like to, but I can still run. I think last year I scraped bottom in 1.7 foot of water. That was fully up on plane.
Oh, wow. I can't go that shallow.
Yeah,
my boat drafts like over 2 feet.
Yeah.
It does. It and the channels change. Now this year, the channels will probably stay just about the same, but every year if we have big ice jams, it'll change them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Free fishing, a lot of times you don't have the time to learn the areas like somebody that's lived there for 40 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it tough. And nobody wants to tear up a $600 prop or knock a hole in the bottom of their boat.
No.
Yeah, but John said he said there's you can't run in boats. The boats like you just can't do it. And I never did go. And I'm comfortable with that because I didn't want to tear up. Pardon me.
Now there's plenty of water in there. It's flooded. I mean,
yeah, now you could rock and roll, couldn't you? You ever fished the Fox River?
No, I never have. I hear the Fox is just about like the Rock River. I mean, it's from what I've seen some guys talk about it, it's a little worse than the Rock River.
Kevin, no, I'm not a piano player. I'm a drummer. I mean, that's all I ever done in the music industry. I never played no piano. My mother did. She tried to teach it to me, and I said, "Screw this." None of that. Oh, here's one. What are your favorite areas to fish? Ledges, flats, holes, or trees?
I like the ledges. I like ledges because that's where I've caught them.
You catch all them big fish.
For me, I love fishing trees. I mean,
absolutely.
You ask a couple of people up here that fish with me, and I love fishing trees. Yeah. I don't care if they're in 2 foot of water to 15 foot of water. I love that cover.
JR.
Yes, sir.
Does it matter to you if you're in trees or on ledges if the fish are biting?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
If I'm like Diane, if they're on the ledges and them big boys are going, I'm happy. I'm like Terry. If they're in the trees and them big boys are going, I'm happy.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Find them, make them go, and I'm wonderful.
Absolutely.
Michael, we're from Northwest Illinois.
It's by the
Quad Cities.
Quad Cities. If anybody knows where East Moline and Moline's at,
they're way up there.
It's way up here. Yeah.
You guys are way up there.
Traveled so far when we went, and we wasn't going near as far as you was going.
No.
Y'all are like in an entirely different country.
Yeah.
It takes us. It takes us 8.5 hours to get to Memphis. going down to Lake Wheeler, I think it's 9.5,
9.5,
9, 10 hours. I
I'm
mean,
thinking
think you
the only
said-
people that travel much further than you do is probably Eddie and Ann White.
Yeah.
Now, they really got to travel.
Yeah.
The water temp on the Tennessee River right now in Lenoir City, Tennessee, is 63 degrees.
I wish.
So, and that's cool compared to ours. And y'all's is even cooler than that at 57. So
Like I said,
that's
I was running
crazy.
57, 58. And then when I got up in the shallows the other day, it was right around 60.
Now, question: the spawn, is it purely water temp, or does it come to a point when the photo period, the daylight, the amount of daylight, the length of the day,
I think it all goes by water temp.
is it water temp?
Yeah.
So what are you guys looking at, about 70, 75 degrees when that
75.
spawn starts?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I agree, and I could be wrong about that. I know there's a lot of people that has different opinions on it, but from what the biologists that I know that study stuff like that, they all tell you that it's water temperature. But now, do they all know what they're talking about? Maybe not.
I don't think it's all one particular thing. Who knows? I think maybe a certain amount may spawn. Some of them may not. I think it just depends on the fish. I think the fish are more like us than people give them credit for. I think we treat them like they're machines and they're totally predictable. When in reality, they're kind of more like us. They're kind of just, some of them will do what we think they're going to do, and then some of them won't. They're going to do what they want to do.
Sonny said something about the moon phase. I think, and I can't, the chat keeps moving every time I click on. I think that water temperature to moon phase has as much to do with it as anything. I also think barometric pressure has something to do with it. And I'm not a big barometric pressure fisherman. I think it does affect the bite some, but I also think that it affects the spawn. But I don't think once they stop that they start. I used to think that when a cold front moved through, it would cause fish to go out of spawn and stop. But once they start, I don't see them quitting. I think they go on regardless of what changes come. So I think they adapt.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
It's good to keep a journal.
It is, and
that's the best advice I could give anybody, is just keep a journal. And
100%.
because we as humans, a lot of times we'll think, hey, it's about the same as it was last year. Then if you look at your journal, you'll realize that no, it's about 3 or 4 degrees cooler than it was last year, or warmer than it was last year.
Right.
So.
Fronts move through different stuff. I agree.
Fish in the heat or in the cold. Do we prefer to fish in the heat or in the cold? Okay, I love the heat, and if y'all have seen me during tournament times, I'm quite the red person.
You like getting that sun, don't you?
What do you think, Lyle?
I agree 100%. Cindy made it in the chat. I sent her a link, Diane. She didn't jump in here, but I didn't expect her to. But I'm sure that she wishes that she was here so she could shoot the bull with you guys.
I'll talk with her when she gets back. Oh, there she is. Hey, Cindy.
Yep. She's busy taking care of 2 sisters and a brother, and I'm glad she's doing that, but she's going to be home in a couple of days, and to be quite honest, I'll be glad for that too. I'm tired of opening cans and eating that crap, but it is what it is. That's easy cooking, and I like it.
There you go. Better when she comes home, you need to take her out to eat.
I'm all over that. I'm all over that. Mike Lewis says he kept a journal on his boats for years and he believes in barometric pressure. I'm a believer that affects it. Now, Will it stop them from biting if they're hungry? I don't think it will. Will it promote them too? If they're not, I don't think it will. But I think it does affect the activity level of the way that they go, and I think a lot of things.
Drifter bumping.
Who said that?
Mike Greenwell. Anchor drifter bumping.
We anchor, and we do a lot of anchoring up in our area. We're just, when we go down south to fish for blues, we love to bump. So we're going to try to work that into bumping up here for channel cats. I know a few that have, and have been real successful at it. So,
yep.
Yes, we do fish tournaments without each other. I fished on Chick Fight. And sometimes I can't get off on a weekend, so he'll go fish. He's got a couple of people that he fishes with.
I got one partner, Les Miller. He fishes with me. He helps out. I mean, he's my backup plan when she can't go fishing.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard to tell him no because she wants to fish, but he understands a lot.
That's awesome.
We have a calendar now, and I'll pick my days, or let him know what I can't fish. And
she comes first when it comes to fishing tournaments. I mean, if she can get off work, then she's fishing with me.
There you go. I have I know we're running on about an hour, but I wanted to talk to Diane specifically about fishing the chick fights. I know that you went down and fished the first one. I know you're disappointed that the COVID-19 stopped this year.
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate a little bit on your expectations for the next year, your partner, and a few things like that? Because I know that this tournament is a huge deal for a lot of the ladies. And it should be.
Okay, I know this might sound cheesy, but I want to fish it to prove to Terry that I can do it without him being there, and that I learned from him, and I want to make him proud of me. And he
absolutely,
can say, hey, that's my wife. My wife did that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to prove it to myself. I have a great partner for the chick fight next year, and we met up this past March down in Tennessee with the wonderful sandwich spitting video.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
We fished really well together. We ran the boat. We did all the taking the fish off, catching them. Her and I did everything together, and I think it's going to be a blast. I don't want it to be like it's such a competition. I want to have fun when I do it.
Absolutely.
But the benefits, there's always a good benefit. The money's always nice. The recognition is nice. And, but what it all comes down to is, I want him to be proud of that. I learned from him, and I want him to be proud of that.
Well, and I love that outlook. I really do. But I'm going to tell you something. Last year when Cindy and them come in and won that tournament, I was glad that Eddie was doing the announcing, because I had to turn around away from everybody because I was so excited that I couldn't hardly contain myself. To see what those three women did in that boat, won 2 fish, was amazing. And Terry, I know that you'll be the same way. You're so proud they do good.
Yeah.
That it's hard to handle. It really is, because Cindy didn't know anything about depth finders or casting cast rods. She didn't know any of that stuff. She how to throw Zebco 33s, and I used to buy her stuff like that. And I said, man, if you're going to fish tournaments with me, baby, you're going to get the good stuff. We're not going to have none of that junk. And I made her learn how to use that stuff, and I made her learn how to use to read a depth finder. And I know Diane's picked up on all that. And Cindy gets mad at me when I say this, but I am so proud of what she does. And if I never catch another fish and she catches every one of them, I'm good with that, because I see what she's done that I've showed her how to do, and that's more important than me catching them.
You know, you got pros and cons. You got things that women can do better. You got things that men can do better. When it comes to fishing, women can be just as good as men.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what, I used to think that me being a man, I'm going to admit it, I've been sexist. I used to think that I was better. And a friend of mine's wife showed me that I was not. She kicked my butt fishing. So, yeah, you guys, women can definitely.
Dude,
Diane, she can kick Terry's ass. I'm telling you.
Well, I'll be her net man any day.
Oh yeah,
and I don't care. Number one, number two, she does have the boat personal best with that 68. She beat my 66 that I caught down at the
St. Louis.
Missouri Confluence down there, and I took big fish in that tournament too, in a twisted cat tournament. So, so she's got big fish for the boat.
My daughter Kimberly, mine and Terry's daughter Kimberly is on, and she said next year's chick fight, the women are coming back stronger than ever.
There you go.
That right.
You know, that was another thing that Terry surprised you with at that chick fight was your daughter showing up down there, and I really got blown away with that. I thought that was way cool. He pulled that off, and you didn't know about it. It's just awesome. And those are some of the things, like we was talking earlier in the show, some of the things that happen and go on at these tournaments that people that's watching this show tonight, they never know about the things that happen. They don't know about us sitting around out there on the tailgates talking. They don't know about the going out to dinner or cooking in the parking lot.
Parking lot parties. Yeah.
They don't know that 3 or 4 of you guys stayed on one side of the motel room, and every time I'd go out of our room, I'd run around there to see what you guys was doing. You know, they don't understand that. They don't understand that we sit in there, we share information about where you're getting bait, if you're buying bait, if you have to get, are the fish biting, are they not biting? There's just so much stuff that goes around that nobody understands or realizes. So, it's tough when this COVID-19 is keeping everybody from getting together. JR and I have never met. We come to him being on the show from doing such a good job on an interview one night. I was impressed with the way he done it and conducted himself. There's so many.
We actually did meet once at a catfish conference.
Catfish conference, but you got too busy to do an interview.
Yeah. I was.
Well, you know, it's just this summer has really hurt a lot of things, but we're going to get through this. And JR and I are going to get together and go fishing one of these days, and we're going to see you guys.
It's been awesome being co-host of this show, and this show in particular has been awesome. I really think that Terry and Diane needs to come back, especially we got the summer coming up, which is Diane's favorite time of the year.
Yep.
So we'll get the summer under our belts, and maybe Lyle can get you guys back on the show.
Oh, we'll be happy to. And like I say, I would like to get Tim and his wife on. I'd like to get Terry and Lisa on, and some other people that we deal with. I think that would be a lot of fun. We had some great guests last week, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. If you guys will give me just a second to load up, Patriot James wants to give away a pair of his Patriot cat floats.
Patriot James coming in late with some floats.
Yeah, so it'd take me just a second to load everybody up in chat, and we'll get that done.
Lila, I do want to say the best part of MRM last year, when we did lose the depth finder, within a matter of 5 minutes, like I said, at 5 o'clock in the morning, people are coming out of their rooms. Here, try this one. See if this will hook up to your boat. Here. I just did not believe how many people, our group, the catfish community is just such a wonderful group of men and women. And
what's up, Tyson?
Hi, Tyson.
It is. It's a great group of people.
Absolutely. Yep.
And what's cool about it is it's all brand new.
Yeah.
All this is we're in the infancy. This is It's growing.
I was ready to go home.
That's when we were ready to pack it
I
in.
was
I told you down there, I said, you can't go home. You've come too far and you got to stay.
Yep.
Stacy Gaston too. I think Stacy talked to Terry, and all you guys just gathered around him and, talked him down, then talked him right back up, talked him down from going home, and let's get back out on the water and look at what happened.
If you look at bass fishing, just 30 years ago, bass fishermen were bringing fish to the scales on stringers. So, they had to evolve, and catfishing we're doing the same thing. We're evolving.
Yep, it is. Diane, pick me out a number between 1 and 5.
Why she get a pick?
You can pick. You can pick.
Diane, let him pick.
No, he can pick.
Nope, she can.
Bye, Brandy.
Go ahead, pick.
3.
1, 2.
Earnhardt.
Yep, 3. And the winner is Fishing the Rut.
Hey, that's a cool name.
Yep, I'm not sure. That's
Fishing
a new
the
one
Rut.
on me, but that's
kind of like a play on words. That's like the spawn, basically. You got the rut and hunting, and then you got the spawn and fishing. Fishing the Rut. That makes sense.
Fishing the Rut. If you will contact Patriot James on Facebook and send him a message and tell him that you was a winner on tonight's show, he will send you out a couple of the Patriot James catfishing floats. And if you can't get a hold of him or anything, then send me a message and I will get you guys hooked up. Thank you so much, James, for donating those.
Congratulations. Thank you, James.
Congratulations.
And congratulations on winning them. That's awesome. So I see that he's in there. So they will get together, I'm sure, and get that straightened out. Those floats look amazing, JR. I have not used any, but I think I'm going to have to start trying.
Yeah, I've ordered a couple from him. I told him I'd just get them from him next time I see him. I can't wait to get them and try them out. So,
well, I'm sure you guys don't live that far apart, do you?
Nope, we don't. Okay.
Yeah. Need you to jump on Keith. I really, man, we got to get him on the show.
Keith is absolutely blowing up on YouTube.
Isn't he? I'm so proud
of him. He is. He's going so good.
On them buckets and all the stuff that you can do with the 5. I would have never thought of half of that. I
know. Yeah.
Cool dude. Diane and Terry, thank you so much. I was so proud that you agreed to do this because I've asked a lot of the people that we
appreciate it.
Some of them don't have internet connection to do it with. Some of them don't want to do it, and I got that. I had an absolute blast tonight. I knew I would, and I hoped that you would. And JR, thank you for all the great questions you had.
Yeah,
absolutely,
guys.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
See you guys soon.
I'll try to get some more video of her spitting food out. And
all
that was classic. I love the sound effects too.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, did she just spit a loogie? Or no, that was a giant sandwich. Okay.
It was like just a lot.
She got the fish in the boat at least.
Right.
I'd like to let everybody know that next Monday night, Greg Alala with Navionics is going to be on here. We're going to talk about Depth Finder and
going to be a good show.
Should be a great show. If you got any questions about
guaranteed
do that,
to be a lot of dumb questions from me, I promise.
Well, there is no dumb ones. I don't think any of them that you don't know anything about. It should be awesome. But Greg's going to be on the show, and I know that's Memorial Weekend, but he's agreed to do it on Monday night, just like we always do. So we'll see everybody then. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.